But we do want to keep things moving tonight because we know not all of you watching right now are in the District of Columbia, and this may not impact you as much. But one thing that has been a part of our lives, especially here at the Fox 5, Tony P,
Fox
for
Family.
a long, long time, is a little show called Family Guy.
It's a little show. Come on.
No, 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 no! I can't feel my legs! No, wait, there they are. Ow! Ow! Everybody! Oh, you gotta hear this new Eddie Murphy cassette I bought. Hey, did you ever have a barbecue? I have!
Breaks and trims of grass. He loves to moo and weed. I cook like Betty Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed.
All right, Tony P, those are some classic Cleveland and Herbert moments from the early days of the Fox animated hit Family Guy. And in case you didn't know, both of those characters and a slew of others were brought to life by comedian, writer, and voice actor Mike Henry. Mike has helped shape the influential comedy for more than a quarter of a century. And now he is looking back at his life and career with an upcoming memoir all about family, friendship, creativity, change, and a deeper sense of connection and purpose throughout life's many chapters. And tonight, Mike joins us live to talk all about that and much, much more. He's also getting a deep dive in D.C. politics tonight. So, Mike, thank you for sticking around.
Yes, thank you.
I know you've been very patient tonight.
No, all good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the look. So, and I just found out a lot about D.C. politics and a mailman maybe becoming mayor.
That's right.
Right. Good catch. I didn't even catch that. That's good.
It's still very, very early, and he promised to deliver literally for the city. Hey, I want to start with the posters behind you. Fletch and the Jerk. Are they? I mean, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, two of the greatest comedians of all time. Are they big inspirations for you?
Huge, yes. And actually, these are both signed. There's another one signed by David Lynch as well, Wild at Heart. When I grew up in Richmond, right down the street from you guys.
Oh, no way.
And I loved some Chevy and some Steve Martin, and the Jerk I would just recite verbatim in 8th grade to all my friends and made them laugh, and figured I would take my shot at making people laugh too.
I love that. Now, also someone who went to school in Richmond, I love Richmond to death. It's a great part of the country. Let me ask you this. So when you started out, when you were thinking about, I want to entertain people, I want to make them laugh, how did you get into this world? Did you think you were going to do voice acting and comedy? Did you want to do different types of acting? How did that career point start for you?
I was always a class clown, and I realized early that if you could imitate someone pretty well and say things that they would never say, then you would get some people laughing. So I imitated teachers and parents, other parents, etc. And I was always sort of the class clown. I went to Washington and Lee, right down the 66 from you guys, I guess. And not 66, that's out here.
Right.
Anyway, one of the highways.
Yeah.
But
it's close. It's close.
I didn't see my way out. And finally I worked for an advertising agency in Richmond for a couple of years, and all I did was prank call my bosses and put fake ads in with the real ads that were going to be produced and all this kind of stuff. And I just took the leap. And honestly, I figured you live once. At age 24, I had my midlife crisis, my early life crisis. I've already doubled 24, so I'm not too worried about saying that out loud. But and I just moved to LA. Just moved on out and started doing stand-up and improv and finding my way. And 8 short years later, Family Guy happened.
So, I mean, your collaboration with a kind of, lifelong, long-standing creative partnership with Seth MacFarlane. I mean, can you talk to us a little bit about how that came about and then how you guys kind of built Family Guy from the ground up in those early days?
You bet. After a few years in LA doing the aforementioned, I moved back to Virginia to shoot stuff. I wanted to be on SNL, and I was shooting commercial parodies that I would write and act in. Then I moved up to New York, and during that time, my brother Patrick was at the Rhode Island School of Design and was very good friends with Seth. And I went up and acted in my brother's films and met Seth, and we cracked each other up. I was actually getting reason to be, a year or two out from a real shot at SNL when I was in New York, and Seth called and said, "Hey, man, that cartoon you've been helping me, I helped him with some jokes for the pilot, sold it, and said, you want to move to LA and write jokes and do voices?" And at the time, I was broke, living in New York City, 8 years into my pursuits. And I said, sure. And I went out, came out here. I'm in LA now, and, started doing it.
And in those early years, building the show, it got that, really a strong following. Then there was some time off for a while with the show itself. How did you and the whole team were able to keep that going in those early years and gain that audience? What do you think it was about the show, your acting, the jokes that really resonated with folks for those first, years and beyond now?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost cliche to say that, comedy is based in truth. And I think, in all of our societal constructs, we all have to compromise who we really are to, stay in the job or climb the ladder, pay for the house, whatever it is. And I really like calling BS on that, and so does Family Guy. And so we just had a great time just calling stuff out. And we were canceled after 2.5 seasons, and then ratings, late night and DVD sales brought us back.
Right.
And so when we were canceled, a lot of sort of career writers, sitcom writers that were on staff went and worked on other shows. I didn't want to do that, so I just made a a hidden camera show parody called, I hope I can say, Kicked in the NUTS.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
We're streaming, so you're fine.
You go for it.
KickedInTheNuts.com. Go
Love
check
it.
it out. It's so my brother and I just went out and basically took the premise that anyone would be happy to be on TV no matter what happened to them, and so we took some actors out and we did some fun stuff. And so I just stuck to comedy. I just wanted to make what I thought was funny, and kind of calling out stuff that I didn't feel was based in much credibility. So.
And there's also an episode in Family Guy, I think, when there's the Kicked in the Nuts episode. Now I know where that came from. That is brilliant.
So, it ends. Yeah, the show ends with Peter getting kicked in the nuts.
Right.
A caricature of. And we had, Seth was in one of my Kicked in the Nuts, Seth Green,
Wow.
a ton of Family Guy writers and other actors. And
I love that.
So
That's
it's
really
just all,
cool.
You live once. I just want to be funny and then also be kind. Those are my two things.
That's a great approach to life.
Can't be better than that.
I was in college from 2002 to 2006, so I did my part in making sure that those, after the initial season ratings were as high as they were, because that was a nightly appointment TV for everyone in our dorms was watching those Family Guy reruns until those new episodes came about. Look, not to date myself, but going back to the year 2002 and be even earlier than that, comedy has changed dramatically. You guys were known for a very irreverent sense of humor. How have things changed over the last several decades?
Yeah, well, when you look back at the early episodes, there's a lot of stuff that it's funny, but you just can't say it anymore. And I've always come from a place of, I have all friends of all from all walks of life, all races, all economic, situations and everything else. So I, with my friends, you make the jokes. You call out each other's differences, or the whatever your group's known for, you make fun of. But it's coming from love, it's coming from a good place. And, Family Guy, I can't say it was always coming from love. I didn't have final say on all the jokes, but, it's funny. I mean, it was really funny. But, yeah, things obviously have evolved and changed. And, there's a sensitivity that there wasn't before, or maybe it's an awareness of people's real hardships, and you don't want to punch down on anyone, and I don't feel like I have done that, and if I have, I have moved on from wanting to do anything like that. But yeah, I think it's just a balance, and it's all economic, really. I mean, it's big companies are making this content, and they can't afford to upset a bunch of people, and I understand that. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you're coming from a kind place, and you're not punching down, I'll joke about pretty much anything.
Can you take me through the process of what it is like on a logistical perspective to actually do the voice acting? Because you've done improv, you've done comedy, you've done acting.
Yeah.
What happens when you go into that booth and record? How is it different than more, face-on acting or comedy? Like I'm so fascinated by what it's like to get in there and use your voice for so many diverse characters.
Yeah, well, at this point, I do a lot of kind of. I still play most of my main characters on Family Guy, and then I'll also do incidental characters in each episode. And I'll usually just have in my head somebody's voice that I know, and I'll apply it in a twisted way to a simple line or a punchline, and and go from there. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I love voice acting because it's so free, and you can be in your sweats, and it doesn't take much time, and these days you can do it from anywhere. So yeah, I mean, it's really the same as acting without having to do all the physical stuff.
Right, and like, does this having? Yeah.
I was just going to say, when, I invented this character, Bruce, on Family Guy. That guy. And so I always, whenever I read a Bruce line, I'll just cue myself with the first thing I ever remember him saying, which was, "Oh, sure, I can do that." When Peter went in to buy a Halloween costume, and he's dressed as Spider-Man, and he's like, "Oh, I can make pretend like the children are little bugs in my web." But I cue myself with a little something, and then I just go right into the new line. Or Herbert, "Hey guys, oh, that's nice."
Oh my God.
Do you have conversations with yourself in the different voices?
Rarely.
Really?
No, I don't. But honestly, I do. Like, if I'm driving down the street and I'm thinking on a joke, or I, think of a funny situation, or see something funny, I'll comment either to myself or out loud in whatever character.
Does having being on your own and not having actors all the time in the room like that, acting out these things, does it make it easier for you as an actor to dive in, or is there some times where you go, "I wish I had someone on the other side that I was talking to"?
It's generally easier, and Family Guy, when we record scripts, you're recording your line by yourself, like all of your lines. You may have whoever's directing the episode in your ear giving you the other character's lines in a scene, but at this point, I know it so well, and when you do a table reading, which we do for every script, we do them on Zoom now. I'll have already read, and I understand where the scene is in the story and where the joke is in the scene, and if it's calling back another joke, or so you just sort of, it's muscle memory. It's just you kind of lock in and you can knock it out pretty quick.
Mike, is it hard to, have stepped away from a character that was obviously, meant so much to you? You had not only voiced Cleveland Brown for so long, you had your own spin-off show type of a thing. And I know diversity meant a lot to you. When you guys launched the new show, you talked about bringing in more voices type of a thing to represent the cast and the family that was being seen on the screen. So now to see someone else do it, is that difficult?
Well, I'm going to take a pass on this. It's something that just happened, and I'm kind of not ready to talk about it. So in said book or documentary, maybe one day, but I'm really at peace. I feel so much gratitude for this whole, all of it, for Family Guy and for the Cleveland Show and for other stuff, and that's in entertainment. It's just been an amazing ride for me, and there's a lot to celebrate, and that's what I focus on.
One of the things you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that I really resonated with is someone who's in the social media side, left corporate world, very similar to the marketing space. When you're going through that initial launch, trying to do your own thing, trying to make it, not go broke, things of that nature, what thoughts did you have in your head to keep you going and to know that I might see that fame, that craft that I want to pursue? Like, how did you get through those tough times, and what did you look in your mind to keep you going?
Yeah. Well, I was young, and I was 24 when I took the leap. I didn't know anything about Los Angeles. I had been out here once for like 3 days. I was from Richmond. I went to school in Lexington, Virginia, and was working back in Richmond. That was a whole world that I knew.
Yeah.
And I had gotten into advertising because I wanted to be creative and put stuff on TV. But once I got into it, and I'll tell you a little story since we're streaming. So, like I said, I would prank call my bosses. One day, we had a client that was a phone company, and they were doing a small business campaign with magazine ads. And so the creative team had come up with these magazine ads where on one page it was your business's phone system without our product, and it was a handsaw. And on the other page, it was with our product, it was a chainsaw. And so my boss is looking at these. We've got our ties on. We're ready to go present. He gets to the next one. It's a rowboat and a motorboat. And so I had put one in there that your business system without our product, and it was a hand going like this. And on the other page, it was just like spread eagle naked lady. And he looks at it, and he just looks at me and goes, "Are you sure you're in the right business?" And I was like, I don't think so.
I mean,
man.
nowadays with social media, I think you'd be in the perfect business.
Exactly.
Like, everything goes
So,
now.
Well, that was 1990. I'm dating
Wow.
myself. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I had to be funny. And so it wasn't a matter of, there was no plan B. It was, I moved to LA, I took a screenwriting class, I did improv class, I did all this stuff.
Wow.
And, got a job at the Gap. I had gone from wearing a tie and having what was then called a secretary. And now I'm working at the Gap at the mall, where I just was today, actually, at the
That's
same mall.
crazy.
But
Wow.
I just knew. I just knew that I had what it was going to take, and that if I stuck to it. There was a time I was waiting tables, and Robin Williams was in the restaurant, and Jerry Seinfeld had been in recently, and I just knew, I was like, I'm not ready to be where they are, so I'm just going to keep moving like this, and I keep doing my work incrementally, and the world is moving like this, and at some point it's all going to connect, and that's what happened.
I love
That's
that.
so relatable.
message. I love that message too,
That was like-
because really persistence and
I needed to hear that.
dedication to something and belief in yourself and what you have to offer is amazing. Mike, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime. If people want to follow you for more and the eventual book or documentary, how can they do it?
Yeah, jump on my Instagram, please. It's at Mike Henry Bro, or just search Mike Henry on Instagram. It'll pop up. I've started posting a lot lately, so it's been fun. I do a lot of Herbert songs, etc. So check it out.
Love to see
Love
it.
it.
All right, Mike, have a great
Mike,
night.
pleasure
Thank
to
you
meet
so
you.
much
Thank
for
you for
joining
this.
us.
Really appreciate the time, guys.
Fox